Hey there, I'm Brittni Schroeder, and business and marketing are my jam. I'm here to walk you step by step through this crazy thing we call business. I'm a small town girl, chocolate eating, Diet Coke drinking mom, marketing guru, automation Jedi, and all around good time. This is your weekly dose of all things business and life, sprinkled with some fun. This is the Redefine Business Podcast. Welcome to another episode of Redefine Business Podcast. I'm excited for our guest today. We're chatting before I hit record, and we were talking a little bit about Pinterest. And we kind of had mentioned, social media and, kind of the struggles there with like Instagram and Facebook and whatnot. And I wanted Heather, and I'm going to let her introduce herself, come on, because I think this is a really important part of digital marketing that is so often overlooked. It's a great tool. And I don't think as business owners, we give it enough attention. And so I am super excited to have Heather on the podcast. Heather, go ahead and tell my audience who you are.
Yeah, so I've been marketing first of all, Brittni, thank you so much for having me. I am super excited to be here. But I've been doing Pinterest marketing for over 8 years. And I joke that I've been doing it. I've been actually on the platform long enough that I remember when you could get to the bottom of the feed and you'd have to come back the next day.
That ages you. Yes.
Yeah,
Me too.
It's that old. I got started using Pinterest because I was a newly married mom and wife, and I had no idea how to cook food for my family. And I was getting sick all of the time. So I went to Facebook and I posted a third-party status like we used to do in 2010 and asked people, like, how were they finding recipes? Like, what were we cooking and how do I do this? And my sister-in-law sent me a text with an invite to Pinterest. So I've been on since the beta days, and I've single-handedly taught myself how to do most everything in my adult life using the platform, which is why I'm so good at it, because I've used it as a consumer every day since it's been on the internet.
Yeah.
So that's all about me. I live in Tucson, Arizona, if anyone's in Arizona.
Yeah.
I love hiking and just hanging out with my
kids are going back to school. We were talking about that. Yes. So awesome. Well, and I think, and that's where I think we have a little bit of the misconception, because that's where I started. Mine was not cooking because I don't really love to cook. Mine was more parties and decorating my house and inspiration that way. And so and traveling too. And I used it a long time for just that. And then as my background's in photography, and as I transitioned into business coaching and digital marketing, I discovered, like, wow, this is a great tool that's so overlooked by business owners. So tell my listeners just kind of a little bit about Pinterest for business and how it excels on Pinterest.
Yeah, so Pinterest is not a social media platform. This is for your listeners.
Yes.
Even though it's lumped into that social media category amongst, data and statistic firms, and even on your phone, it's not in your social media folder. If you open your phone apps, like my iPhone doesn't lump it into social media, it's in an other folder, which is quite funny. But it's not social media, it's a search engine. And when people go there, usually the first thing that they do is one of two things. They'll scroll their home feed, which is curated based on past searches that they did, or they'll immediately go to the search bar and start typing something in. Recipes for like kids' lunches. That was one of my searches this morning. So they start with some sort of search or some sort of browsing based on past searches. The algorithm is twofold. There is a recommendation algorithm, much like your TikTok and your Instagram, but there is also the search algorithm, and the search algorithm will feed your recommendations algorithm as well. So any engagements that you make with pins that you see that are in that recommendation algorithm will then start feeding into your people's home feeds. So if you put a pin up today, Brittni, about business coaching for photographers, and I were to engage with that, then later today and tomorrow and in the coming weeks, I'm going to start getting more of your content in my feed, but I'm also going to start seeing other people's content that's similar. So when we think about using Pinterest from this perspective, we really want to think about using it from the way that people are searching for you, because ultimately that's how they're going to find you the majority of the time. So if we can optimize our Pinterest pins for search and with search intent in mind, the recommendation algorithm is also going to pick you up and serve you when your people are looking for you.
So, okay, so let's talk about, so one of the things like that I focus on in my business and coaching is the funnels. And I teach people, I can help you build and automate an awesome funnel, but there's one key factor that you need to have these funnels be successful, and that is traffic. And so it's multi-leveled, right? Like, I can build you a funnel, you have to drive traffic, and so talk a little bit more about like that. Like, what should people, okay, me as a business owner, so I am a business owner, I have a business membership, I have I have digital courses. What is ideal for me? What should I be pinning to drive traffic to get sales?
So you're talking about me right now. I'm also in that same camp. So what I do and how I get sales into my business membership, I have a Pinterest marketing membership. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about Pinterest and content marketing. I have services that are all the same thing, right? It's the same no matter what function you are gleaning insight from me. So what I do on Pinterest is I make pins for all my free offers. So all those lead magnets that are going to get people on my email list. I make pins for all my paid products, including services. I make pins for all my YouTube and blog content. Now, the majority of my people that join my community and really get into my ecosystem and build trust the fastest are coming through my free content. So if I can get them to a blog post or a YouTube video first, they are ultimately going to join the email list and buy products from me, because those value-driven pieces of content like this podcast episode, which I will also pin, they are building trust. They're showing people that I know what I'm talking about, that, these tips, they can go and implement them right now and actually see results before they ever even spend money, which again builds more trust. So those are the things that I'm making pins for. Anything that you do, if you're a podcast guest, you should be pinning those podcast episodes. You should be sharing those in other places too, but Pinterest is definitely a really great place. Some of my top pins are actually guest blog post and podcast episodes that I've been on, and they're not even on my own website. They're on other people's websites.
Oh, that's so, okay. So you're going to their website and pinning. Do you find, a difference in how pin performance, whether it's pinned directly from somebody's website or if you create the pins and upload them that way? Like, is there one better than the other?
No, as long as you have your domain claimed on your profile and you are pinning to that claim domain, it doesn't matter if it comes from the website or you're making a pin in Canva, uploading it to a third-party scheduler and publishing it to Pinterest. It's ultimately going to link back to your claim domain. And that's really all Pinterest cares about.
Mm-hmm. Now, and just to clarify a little bit for people who are not super familiar with Pinterest, correct me if I'm wrong, but that means you have to go into Pinterest and you have to make sure your domain's claimed. It will say it's claimed. And then what that means is when somebody clicks on something that you pinned, it directs them to the website right? Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. And it's so simple. Most people know how to put a website pixel on their website, like a Facebook pixel or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's the same process for claiming your domain for Pinterest. The same kind of code you use to claim your Google email account. You're going to put a little piece of code in the header of your website. Pinterest is going to connect and talk to your website. And then that just shows that you're trustworthy. You're not a bot. And that's ultimately what we want.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I want to kind of go back to is, getting sales from Pinterest. It's driving traffic. It's not just and I think that that's what a lot of entrepreneurs are kind of stuck on. It's like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not getting business? But it's really about these funnels. It's about building the relationship. So Pinterest is a tool to drive traffic to your website. There's still things that you need to do as a business owner. You need to set up these nurture sequences. You need to nurture your audience. You need to have product that your audience is interested in. It's a whole process, but it's driving traffic to your website, driving traffic to these products, right? Okay, I have another question. How often are you pinning stuff? So like you have all your lead magnets. How often should people be pinning those? Is it a one and done, or is it pin them on a regular basis? What is it?
Recycle, recycle, recycle. So I don't care how many lead magnets you have. If you have one, if you have 10, you're going to continually be making pins for those. And the thought process here is the more you park your content on Pinterest, the more opportunities you have to be found. So if you only put something on Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest or YouTube one time, that's only one opportunity for you to be found. But if you're continually publishing those items using multiple different keywords, using multiple different styles of images and content types, so using a static image and a video pin or an infographic style pin, all of these are collecting the eyeballs of many different people in all the different ways that those things are being searched for. So if someone's searching for business photography poses for like brand photography or whatever, if you've only ever pinned your posing guide one time, you're going to be kind of flamed out by everyone else who's pinning more regularly. So what I usually do, Brittni, is I actually pin 3 to 4 lead magnets or free products a week, or not free products, 3 to 4 lead magnets and paid products a week. And then I backfill the rest in with free content because all my free content has those lead magnets and products in it as well. And I think that going back to the driving the traffic to the funnel piece that you had mentioned, I think one of the biggest pieces that people miss in this puzzle of optimizing their content is they never think about actually putting their products in their blog posts or talking about their products in their podcasts or their YouTube videos or their blogs. They miss these pieces because they're either fearful that they're going to come off as salesy. You're in business to make money. Let's sell that stuff, babe. Or they just never think about how they can connect those things to this free piece of content. So yeah, that's what I do. And I usually pin, because I have my team does my pinning too. I pay my team to do my Pinterest. So my graphic designer makes 7 pins for me a week, and my scheduler pins all of those. And then anything that I'm working on right alongside them gets thrown in. So I have one guaranteed pin going out every single day, but sometimes it's more.
Yeah. And I want to kind of back up and kind of talk about funnels, because that's what I focus on.
I love funnels.
Is I always think of, sometimes people do it backwards, where it's like I'm creating content, and just because it's like content, and you need to think of your offers and create content that align with your offers. So for example, like I have an email funnel builders course where I teach people how to build email funnels. So I want to create stuff that has to do with like growing your email list, what email providers are good ones, how to automate. And that's the content that I need to create. But then I'm linking it. It's like I'm holding their hand and saying, okay, this is first, then this is the next step, is to buy my course. And so I think a lot of times people are just throwing stuff out there, just content that doesn't align with their offers. And you're not using your time like as good as you're not using your time well, because you're not directing them to your offers. So everything should align with your offers, your freebies, your content, everything. So that's something that, because you had mentioned that people create free content. Okay, I created a blog, it was on this. Okay, then what? Like, that's great blog. But so if someone's Googling, or going to Pinterest, and they're looking for a solution to a problem, you want to say, hey, listen, I can help you. I have something that can help you with this. And so it needs to be, it can be an actual offer, or it can be a freebie, but every piece of content needs to be like the entrance to your funnel, get them in, getting an email address ultimately.
I would actually invite your audience to either A, study your content marketing strategy, because it is very good, or B, come to me and study my content marketing strategy. Even if you put me on like a low volume, or you fast forward my videos and you watch them on speed, I don't really care, but it's a good study in exactly what you're talking about, because I start every single YouTube video, and that's my primary content creation platform is YouTube. Then we make blogs, and then we do social media and Pinterest and email. I am thinking about the end of what I want people to do before I ever think about what kind of content I need to create. And if you can start with the offer, like you said, and then work your way back towards the beginning, you will see more success in the long run because you'll understand the road people need to take to ultimately buy your product. The same happens on Pinterest.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay. So on average, like how many times should, like you have like a certain amount of lead magnets and you're repurposing them. So are we talking your like lead magnets, your not all at once, but are you posting them 100 times? Like how many times within like a year span should people be like repurposing their content?
I think it depends on how much is in your content library. So I have 300 plus blog posts in my content library, and I have hundreds of YouTube videos. And then products and freebies as well. So for me, I take 30 pieces of content a month. And it's usually whatever is either trending in the Pinterest Trends tool. For me, there's not a lot that's going to be trending in the Pinterest Trends tool because I'm more of an evergreen business. But if anyone's listening and they do have more of a seasonal business, then they may look there first to determine what those topics are they're going to pin on. But at the end of the month, I'm choosing 30 pieces of content. And when I say content, that also includes those free and paid offers, then the blogs and the YouTube videos and any guest posts that I appear on.
Yeah.
So 30 things a month is what I'm creating for. If you can only do 15, then do 15. If you can only do 5, then do 5. I want you to start with what you can handle. I can handle 30. I also have a team that supports me to do that.
Yeah.
I also have a really well-defined workflow that I've been using and tweaking for 8 years with clients. So I have this system down, but if you end up doing it 100 times, great. I would rather you create 100 individual pins for your one freebie using 10 different keywords than pinning it one time. The nuance here is that it's gray. It's not black and white. I just want you to create pins and I want you to put them on the platform. But I don't want you to use the same 5 keywords every single time. I want you to do keyword research. I want you to figure out how else people are looking for that topic. Pinterest is going to tell you. And I want you to rotate through that list of keywords.
Yeah.
So really, I don't care how many times you pin it. If you want to pin it 200 times, as long as it's 200 very distinct different images, great.
Yeah. It's something that I wanted to bring up that you said is you've been doing this for 8 years and you have 300, you have all this content. And I think that is something that oftentimes we kind of just don't talk about enough is it has taken you a long time to create this content. I'm similar to you where I try to put out a blog and a podcast every week. And I have tons of content, but it's taken me like a lot of years to build that. And there isn't an easy button. And and that's what marketing is you never know what is going to work. It's the same with social media. You can create, a reel or something and you're like, oh, this is going to be so good. And then it's like crickets. You can create something that you're like, that's mid and it goes viral. And so it's kind of the same concept. It's a numbers game and it's about consistently showing up and consistently creating content and consistently trying to help your audience. And that is how you drive traffic. That is how you have success. That is how you build a following. And it's just consistently showing up. So I love that you said that.
I read a book in 2019 that really helped change my mindset on the concept of community building. And it was called like 1,000 True Fans or something like it was the Pat Flynn version of that topic. And that has really helped me to tune in over the years and really keep the power behind me of continually showing up and creating content, even if it falls flat, even if I feel like no one is listening. The people that are ultimately consuming my content and doing the work and seeing the results are the ones that are those true fans. They keep talking to me. They keep telling me what they need. And I think that's something that a lot of people could really benefit from is really learning how to listen to your audience instead of talking to them consistently.
Yeah. Well, and I think sometimes we get out of touch with our audience because we think that, oh, they know this because we have to think of where they're at and not where we're at sometimes. And so I think it's like really understanding your audience, listening to them, asking questions, getting feedback, market research, all those things. So I love that you brought that up. Well, Heather, tell my listeners how they can find you, how they can work with you, all the things.
Yeah, so I do done for you, done with you. I have VIP days, but I also have a membership where you can come. It's a very low ticket membership. You can come and get support from me one-on-one if you want it. So all of the ways that you can work with me are just located on my website, heatherfarris.com, and it's Farris, not like Ferris Bueller. So come visit me, heatherfarris.com. I will support you in whatever entry point you need. You just have to tell me and I can plug you in somewhere. So I'm super happy to help your audience get started on Pinterest and using it the right way and help them along with some of that mindset.
Yeah, awesome. And do you have something for my listeners? Do you have a guide or something that a place where they can start?
Yeah, so you're going to link the Pinterest strategy guide in your show notes. I've already given that to you. And it's a Pinterest, it explains the Pinterest strategy. And there's also a workflow, an audit sheet, and all sorts of resources located inside that show you how to use each and every part. So it's a very thought out, it's essentially a free Pinterest course.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Okay, Heather, I like to end all my shows with asking my guests 2 questions. So the first one is, what is a pet peeve of yours?
Oh, goodness. A pet peeve is probably when someone comes to me for advice and they're like, hey, what should I do? How should I do this? And you tell them and then they don't do it. And then they come back to you 6 months later and they're like, hey, how do I do this? And you ask them, hey, did you do the thing I told you to do?
Yes.
And they never did it.
Yeah. Okay. I feel that one. Okay. What is a simple pleasure?
Hot coffee in the mornings before my kids wake up in complete silence.
That's a good one. I like my quiet morning time. That's for sure. Well, Heather, thank you so much. This has been so good. Every time I have guests on and we're talking about like SEO or Pinterest or YouTube, it gets me motivated and just, okay, I need to do this. I need to get back to this. So thank you so much. It's been so good talking to you.
Thank you, Brittni, for having me.
Let's not stop the party here. Head on over to my Instagram or Facebook group, Redefine Your Business, and let me know your thoughts about today's show. I will see you again, same time, same place, next week.